Welcome back to Let's Talk Race and Man. I'm your host, Harrison Paul, and today we want to talk about Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams was diagnosed with dementia. It's such unfortunate news. We never want to hear this about anybody within our community. I'm just going to read the Shade Room headline, which said, Wendy Williams' team reveals she's been diagnosed with aphasia and dementia. I've never actually heard that illness until now. The decision to share this news was difficult, they said. This is a tough thing to see. We have to think about her family, we have to think about, anybody dear to her. She's obviously struggling to be able to communicate and stuff like that. It's a very unfortunate time. And due to the unfortunate something so severe, I want us to be able to reflect as a community. A few points I wanted to touch on today to be able to use this as a talking point. First thing I want to say, if you think this will be a Wendy Williams, slander episode, it will not be that. Because look, it's unfortunate. We're not glad. We're not happy to see anybody in this situation. But I can't help but think, what kind of life she did lead. Of course, we know that the other side, meaning white media, have also been, very harsh people and just ruthless people when it came to how they depict people and what image they give people, and but we're gonna watch our own community, right? We're gonna make comments and comment on our community and what we can do better. And I did feel that Wendy did make a career out of journalism is one thing, right? But then if you're creating a name for yourself about how well you can really belittle people at times, it's not a good name to build. And it's not good energy to put out in the air. I'm a Christian, so I won't talk about universe or energy. I'll really just talk about biblically. I don't think you can sow that kind of behavior and not reap something in a different way. Am I saying that she's the only person that's ever done anything bad? No, I'm not. I'm just trying to express how I was raised. And how I was raised was, I always tell people close to me, I would get belted by my mother with the whip more because my brother was a little bit, when he was younger, I'm going to share my story. He was a little bit, you know what I mean? He was bigger. He was a bigger guy. And obviously my mom would see, habits maybe as a young boy of me, maybe wanted to pick on him for his weight or whatever. And I would get belted more for meanness. I was a mischievous child. I'd get belted more for meanness than I would for stealing out of her purse. And I always tell this, like, there was something about my mother that when she saw a mean spirit in you, like, let's say I said something mean or jabby or underhanded, I remember her eyes would just go, oh, her eyes would just go where she'd see red, and I think she was just so adamant that no child of mine will be a bully or will have any sort of bully characteristics or belittling people. And if I stole for something, of course, she hated it and I would be in trouble. But I just remember so severely growing up, there was something about me being a mean boy that set her, like, you wanted to call the belt, you gonna call the belt for that. And with that also being said, when she was going to school to defend me, plenty of times that I was obviously mischievous in school, I think sometimes teachers would take it way too far. And one of the things she didn't like, and she always said this, she was like, I knew that you were mischievous and I was ready to side with teachers on that topic. But a lot of times I felt like they were trying to paint you as if you were a child who had a bad heart. And I wanted us to stay on topic. Okay, his behavior, he's loses attention span, or, he's hyper, whatever. But I saw their eyes were looking at you like, and she would, as if you were a bad child now. She would always say, does my son come into class saying, today I want to hurt that other boy in the class? I want to hurt him. I want to laugh at him. I want to make a joke, or it's a small thing. Yeah, but I'm just asking for that simple question. Is my son a boy? Okay, so let's not talk with an air as if that's the type of boy child that he is. And even to this very day, I would, I want to pride myself. I try dearly to stay, a Christian and pray and stay in the spirit and stay close to God, so I can maintain a spirit that I grieve with, the idea that someone else is feeling lesser, whether it's insecurity, it's whatever, because I was behind perpetuating or attacking them. Or I never want to be someone's prayer. I've said prayers to God like, God, look, they're laughing at me, or look, God, they're saying this about me, or look, God. I never want to be someone else's prayer. Someone else is looking at God and saying, God, look what they're saying. God's like, don't worry, I'm going to get them. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, they're my child, So I always think of it like that, whether I'm in a room and where people were talking about someone. I don't like talking about people, because it's like, what if in my name comes up in a room? I've always thought about that. Like, why just bring up someone's name negatively in a room and just decide, okay, today we're going to rip this person apart? It's just not been something I like to do. And that's why, I wouldn't want it done to me. I don't do it, right? So when we talk about Wendy Williams, I'm just trying to go from a perspective of how I was raised and what I feel is the best way to be as a person and as a community to flourish. So, I won't say too much on that, because listen, what's done is done, and we can't spend all the time, and I'm sure our family would not like that. But I definitely do want our people to understand. We even see people like Candace Owens. I saw, a headline of her again. And of course, I watch the right, keep up with what their opinions and what they're saying. And, I think she started off as a politic report journalist or something like that. And, obviously very negative towards her own people, filled with self-hatred. But then it just went into this thing where she's just turned into a complete and utter mean girl. I guess money will drive you to do things that will completely denigrate and degrade your self-respect. And she's become a gossip girl on YouTube when she was supposed to be some sort of a person with substance. And now, anything that will get clicks, she's there. And then she's putting it under the guise of, I'm trying to teach this generation what's a hoe and what's not a hoe. It's messy, and like I said, we wish that she would wake up. And of course, it's terrible that she's putting all of that under, Christ's name and saying this is, I'm a Christian. It's just terrible, But I wanted to also get into another section that I see often, and I've been always wanting a way to express this to people. I've never understood how, and I think today is the best way I can do that. Often on Twitter, we have this thing where, I often see the people who are not pro-Black 24/7. Some of them, of course, definitely they are, but the ones who are not pro-Black 24/7 like to get their little jab in now and then, and they'll retweet something that's like putting down white people, but uplifting Black people, and they'll retweet something, and it will say, oh, maybe it's a picture of someone, or this is a chicken that she cooked, or there's no spicy, or she looks like a raw chicken or something. And I've always wanted to kind of say, like, to the African, us as Africans, to not get into that dirty side of this fight. It's just like your argument is not taken seriously. You degrade your aura. My mom, again, always reference my mother. She would always say, Harrison, you should be able to make your point without making any insults. And this was how we were raised coming up. If we haven't screamed, whatever, you should be able to make your point without having any insult, without using any curse word. That is intelligence. So my point is, when I see us, making a messy, like white people, stale, raw chicken, or the way they cook, or or just different, those like little shabby tweets or whatever, but it's supposed to be pro-black because you're just really saying like, okay, we got the funk, but they don't really got it like we got it. If you look at my movement closely, I hope you look at it, anybody, I'm not in for that. I'm strategically trying to fix the problem at hand. And I will stop at nothing to fix the problem. I will go, radical. I'll go through all, you know what I mean? Like I will take it to the highest heights and nowhere I'm not willing to take it in terms of like intensity. But I make sure to keep it within the subject. It's not a personal attack. And I think that's why I'm unafraid about what I do. I think anybody who watches my movement, watches what we're doing here at Let's Talk Racism, I want you to understand and to analyze properly. If you ever see my page being a slander, a smear campaign, a jabby, sniggering at people or putting them down, that's not what we do here. We're just putting out facts and promoting Black consciousness and exposing racism where Black people have failed to understand that, that is what's crippling them in certain areas. And of course, we take it very intense, but I want to encourage everyone back home that we are not, when they say others go low, but we go high. I hate those sayings because they're just, most times it's really in a colonial Christianity sense where it's like this false sense of holiness, this false sense of being above a situation, this false sense of kindness, but really it's fear. We are afraid of the white man. We are afraid of white rejection. We are afraid of being, exiled or, from society, especially any African Westerner. And we're that's something that we are not accustomed to. We are not okay with. So then we mask it in this colonial Christianity that says Jesus loves you. No, friend, because you're quick to tell off another Black person. You're quick to gossip about another Black person. You're quick to be harsh with a Black person, but you have all the time and all the patience for your white neighbor. Yet that white neighbor is up and down and up and down. And in fact, you're so engrossed in being a coon, that you cannot even seem to see that this person and read the room, that this person is not as fond of you, or maybe fond of you, but doesn't hold respect for you. And I often see that with Black people. But back to the subject. This here, guys, is about us as a community just understanding we are not here to be jabby type people. We are not here to be lowlifers and the slagging people off and this is why Black people are better than white people are. Don't get into any of that. That's not what we do here. If you look at my page closely, that's not what we do. Intelligent people stay on topic. Intelligent people get to the point. Intelligent people don't need to insult you to debunk your argument and, belittle your argument. We'll stay on your argument. And then as we belittle your argument, I guess then your argument will then reflect your capacity, which will then really be no need for me to insult you as a human being. And also why it's important not to insult people is because we do hope people can change and turn around. So we don't want to label people anything. We just hope, we know as of now that behavior is what it is, right? Anybody with any sort of class, unlike what people at the Daily Wire do in the Candace Owens, will understand that this fight for consciousness to be in society it doesn't come with slagging people off. It's just, that's low vibration behavior. So we wish Wendy Williams the very, very best. It's just a sad story. And prayers up to her. Thank you so much for watching.
And I'm on a mission for you.